Start your summer road trip at Midas and get up to $30 off your next repair service. Plus, get a free closer look vehicle check to make sure your road trip ready. So if you need a brake service, an alignment check, or tune-up, hit up Midas for up to $30 off. For more details, request your appointment at Midas.com.
Save on Cox Internet when you add Cox Mobile and get fiber-powered internet at home and unbeatable 5G reliability on the go. So whether you're playing a game at home,
yes, goal,
or attending one live, you can do more without spending more. Learn how to save at cox.com/internet. Cox Internet is connected to the premises via coaxial cable. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. 2H 2023. Results may vary, not an endorsement. Other restrictions apply.
TuneIn is the audio platform with something for everyone. News.
In order to secure convictions in a court of law, it is essential that we conclusively.
Sports.
Got clock at 4. Doncic. The step back 3. You bet.
Music.
You set my world on fire. Yes,
and even podcasts. Whatever you love, hear it right here on TuneIn. Go to TuneIn.com or download the TuneIn app to start listening.
Here's Katy Woods from the NBC World Series Tournament Director. Katy, hello, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. So we saw the announcement today about baseball around the clock returning for this year's tournament, which is special in probably 90 different ways. It's the 90th anniversary of the NBC World Series coming up at X Stadium. Tell us about the process of getting back to baseball around the clock.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first things once I was named tournament director. That was one of the first questions was, what about baseball around the clock? It was such a big part of the tournament for so long for people. So we've spent the last couple of years kind of looking at it and trying to figure out what made sense with our format currently, working with Wichita State, working with the neighborhood association, just kind of trying to check all the boxes to make sure we do it right to bring it back. And the 90th tournament, like you said, was just the right time to do it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going too, is just the logistics of it, because I assume it's not just, hey, we're either going to do baseball around the clock or we're not, and that's the decision. So what else goes into that as far as planning and, obviously scheduling and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, just to get it off the ground, we're playing at Wichita State. It's their facility. So we started some conversations with them last year, and they were really open to looking at that, bringing it back. And so everything from, most importantly, they want to be good neighbors because it's right by a residential area over there at Wichita State. So getting with that neighborhood association and figuring out good policies for lights and noise. Nobody wants to, if you're not winning prizes, you don't want to be woken up by a cuckoo clock blaring at you at 3:00 in the morning kind of thing. So that was a big part of it, was the logistics. And then you get into the team portion of it. And so we have a 16-team field. And so figuring out what works, pool play is going to be during pool play. So what works schedule-wise so that we don't have people who are teams that are having to play, 9 p.m. and then get up and play again at 6 a.m. So working through all those kind of logistics and getting those preferences from teams. And so it's kind of one of those moving puzzles, trying to kind of put all the pieces together. And people are pretty excited it's back. So it's been really fun to see the reaction.
Katy Woods, our guest, tournament director for the NBC World Series. That is coming up here. What's the start date, Katy?
July 25th.
Okay, and then we jump right into baseball around the clock, Saturday, July 27th, starting at noon through the 6 o'clock game on Sunday, July 28th. And it's such a great part of NBC World Series history, but so are a lot of other things. So what other things are you trying to implement for the 90th tournament?
I know that was the fun thing, actually read about baseball around the clock. When you look at Steve Schad in 1990 made an official baseball around the clock. But when you look back at Hap Dumont, he was having games that were really late or really early, way back in the 50s, 60s, because you had so many people on swing shift and graveyard shift that he wanted to make sure it could catch a game. And so that's kind of come all the way through. And then with the 90th, we're looking at Satchel Paige, played in that very first tournament in 1935. And so We're going to do a Satchel Paige celebration on opening night this year with a bobblehead giveaway for the first 1,000 fans. And that's another great way to celebrate just the history of 90 years of baseball right here in Wichita.
How did you land, and I'm sure some of the things you've already talked about as far as the planning and talking to other people, it's a weekend thing, but how did you land on 11 games in 33 hours? Did that just feel right? Does that feel like the number, if you use baseball around the clock moving forward, that it'll be about those same number of games and hours? Where did that come from?
Yeah, I think we've got to run it this year and find out. There'll be adjustments from this year for sure, since it's been 8 years since they've done it. It was a different format at that point. But for us, part of it was, one change we're making this year is opening night on July 25th is going to actually be opening night. So what has historically been is there's 4 games that day. You've got a 12, 3, 6, and 8:30. But the 6 o'clock has all your pomp and circumstance and, just kind of that celebration, but you've already played 2 baseball games. And so part of what we did is we moved it to just a doubleheader for opening night. So we'll have games at 6 and 8:30 with that bobblehead giveaway at the 6 o'clock game. And then that gave us 2 games right there that we knew we could move over to baseball around the clock. So that was part of it, was, that helped us add those games in there. So it really was a lot of logistics and schedule to kind of go for that, and also what's feasible this first time back after 8 years and at Wichita State, and then we'll see what it looks like in 2025.
We're talking with Katy Woods from the National Baseball Congress. Their World Series starts on July 25th at X Stadium. I know it's too early to know what your field is going to look like. You mentioned 16 teams. The Hutchinson Monarchs are the defending champion, so they'll have one of those spots. We presume Santa Barbara will be here as well. Are there some other franchises and teams that are showing an interest that maybe we haven't heard about for a while?
Yeah, we Hutch and Santa Barbara will be back this year for finishing first and second. They have a guaranteed bid, and some, especially with it being the 90th. You've got the Seattle Studs back again, the Jayhawk League, those kind of leagues that have been around and part of the NBC for decades. And then we've also got the Boulder Collegians. It looks like we'll be back this year. They had some of the best lineups, I think, of any NBC team for a while there, and they haven't been in a few years, so it will be exciting to get them back out again. I think we've got a new league coming out from California, some more interest from Texas, and then we pretty much have our field sketched out. We know what it's going to look like, waiting to find out who those champions are for those leagues and tournaments. But we've started to get a lot of interest. We've had 2 international franchises reach out to us in the last couple of weeks looking at the 2025 field too. So I think it's just going to keep growing, and there's a lot of excitement about it, which is really fun.
You can't really say it's good or bad that, Santa Barbara didn't win last year, but was there any fallout from it? I don't know what exactly that would be, but was there, hey, now that we know this is kind of a tournament that isn't just dominated by one team, maybe we'll come, or was there any just circumstances or fallout from Hutch winning?
I think there are some ripple effects from that, and there were some people who went, Santa Barbara can be beat because they had just won 3 in a row. They were going for 4. And so I think that was exciting for some teams to know that kind of any given day, you never know what'll happen. It was exciting for Hutchinson to win their first championship and be here with kind of that hometown crowd. So I think it did kind of shake things up a little bit to have a new champion at the top last year.
We're talking with Katy Woods from the NBC. So earlier in the show, my son, who can fly off the handle with ideas at times, mentioned that he would like to entertain the thought of starting a summer collegiate baseball team from scratch. You've seen this. You've seen it happen from the ground up. How much work would that take in your view, Katy? Because I told him
and money,
because I was gentle with him, but I told him there's no way in hell that he could probably pull that off. What are your thoughts?
I mean, if anybody can do it, I'm sure
that's right.
he could. But exactly. But I think The biggest thing is I think people don't realize how much time it takes and how many other people you need to pull in, because it's not just what happens on the field, and it's not just finding fields and baseballs and uniforms and paying for all that, but you've also got host families, and you also have community partners, and you've also got a board of directors, and you're also doing fundraisers throughout the year and all that kind of stuff. So there's just a ton that goes into all these community teams putting together a team and then choosing to come out to the NBC, which I'm assuming if you're starting a team, it's because you want them to come play in the NBC too. So
of course,
it's a lot.
You put it better than I could. And
I think I could do all that.
Yeah, he was checking off boxes
single-handedly,
as you were going through all that stuff. Well, we appreciate it. You're doing a fantastic job with the NBC World Series. We look forward to it. It's coming up next month at X Stadium right here in Wichita. Baseball around the clock, a big part of it. Thank you, Katy.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Start your summer road trip at Midas and get up to $30 off your next repair service. Plus, get a free closer look vehicle check to make sure you're road trip ready. So if you need a brake service, an alignment check, or tune-up, hit up Midas for up to $30 off. For more details, request your appointment at Midas.com.
Save on Cox Internet when you add Cox Mobile and get fiber-powered internet at home and unbeatable 5G reliability on the go. So whether you're playing a game at home,
Yes, goal.
or attending one live, you can do more without spending more. Learn how to save at Cox.com/internet. Cox Internet is connected to the premises via coaxial cable. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. 2H 2023. Results may vary, not an endorsement. Other restrictions apply.
TuneIn is the audio platform with something for everyone. News.
In order to secure convictions in a court of law, it is essential that we conclusively.
Sports.
Got clock at 4. Doncic. The step back 3. You bet.
Music.
You set my world on fire. Yes,
And even podcasts. Whatever you love, hear it right here on TuneIn. Go to TuneIn.com or download the TuneIn app to start listening.